Welcome to the Strange Rainbows podcast, episode 13. We've made it to our 13th episode, the big 1-3, the baker's dozen. I once rented a newly built house because it was number 13, but they changed it to 14, and though I tried, they wouldn't change it back. Superstitions run deep, but I prefer to choose my own, and since 13's my lucky number, I wrote a short poem about it, with a baker's half-dozen verses. I started posting some rhymes on Blue Sky last week, so I'm going to share a few of those. If you found your way here through Blue Sky, then you are welcome here. There is no evil in this place. Please enjoy the dark whimsy of our delightful cats, ghosts and shadows. Every episode has poetry, but 8 and 12 are all poetry. I also have a satirical fantasy story for you today about the baker's dungeon, told in 13 moments. Now it's time to leave your triskaidekaphobia at the door and enjoy a happy-go-lucky poem. Happy-go-lucky. I am happy-go-lucky, the number 13. In some languages, happy means luck. As a number, I'm happy and lucky and prime, 'cause I'm special and quite the odd duck. For a medieval baker, not safe to give less. If you shortchange, lose fingers or more. Make your dozen a baker's and don't fear a mess. Just add 1 onto 12 to be sure. Have a look at the calendar, 12 months are here. Loony solar ones may have +1. It's a leap month that's added each 2 or 3 years just to line up the moon with the sun. If you think I'm unlucky, it might be that you hide at home when it's Friday 13th. But our dear Jason Voorhees does house visits too. Unlike Freddy, they're not just a dream. If you've ever played cards, you find me in a suit, not just numbers and cards with a face. With just 12, a game's simple and boring to boot, because then you'd be missing the ace. They ignore me in skyscrapers, miss out my floor, going straight up from 12 to 14. But that opens a liminal thin fairy door. To go through, you must see the unseen. Take a trip out and join me on Highway 13. Choose your luck, cast your spell, it's all right. We can travel the uneven wonder between, in the zone on the far side of night. Blue Sky Rhyming. I've mostly avoided anti-social media 'cause it can be toxic and creepy, so it was an adventure for me to sign up on Blue Sky last week. I had the notion of putting up a poem a day, although I wasn't sure I'd be able to write that many. Turns out I put up dozens in the first week. It's been delightful to enjoy all the creative kindness I found there and share a few rhymes of my own. Although poets live alone inside our own heads, we yearn to connect. 1 million people signed up for Blue Sky on the day I joined, and I've gotten swept up in the blue wave. A mass exodus of people looking to build a creative safe space for the resistance. There are a lot of content filtering options to mute, block and report keywords, posts and peoples, so I've been creating my own delightful rainbow bubble of cats, nature, haiku, life-affirming joy, artistic inspiration, kindness and love. I rather like it. I'm on there as Blue Sky Rhyming and at PO3TRY, so give us a wave if you're on there. Here's a few of the things I've posted so far. This was the first one. I hope each day to post a rhyme. Send me a word to be my muse. The cat's ghost shadows in my mind shall murmur in the sky so blue. I had the notion of doing interactive poetry. Then I found there are a lot of hashtags like daily haiku prompts, so I've been joining in some of those. Here's 3 haiku that go together to make a creepy, cozy winter triptych. The first 2 were from daily prompts, and the third is a random thing that slithered out of a dark corner of my mind. Winter moon. Luna's chilling gaze, freezer's swift flow to a halt, reflections on ice. Hot tea, freshly baked cookies, rainy day, best friend visits, 2 cups of hot tea. 3 a.m. Suddenly awake, stealthy steps upon the stair. Someone's in the house. And it turns out I have a knack for writing riddles, so I might do more. Riddle me this. 2 eyes peer out from my round face, but I don't have a nose. I might be plastic, wood or brass, and when I fall, you'll lose your clothes. What am I? I've also been posting some poetry inspired by pictures of kitty cats. Here's one about a bodega cat that was sitting in a box. Yes, I live in this box. I'm protected in here, but I still get to watch as you buy food and beer. Thanks for listening to poetry. I'm finding it the easiest thing to write at the moment. Stories are hard, but I still like writing them, and when I listen back to them, they make me smile. Here's a dark fantasy story set in the satirical land of Generica, told in 13 moments, each from a different perspective. I originally wanted to perform this in 13 voices, and I have the voices, but I don't have 13 voice energy this week, and it doesn't quite work if I only do some of them, so I'll just give a flavour for each. Baker's Dungeon. Huddlerith, entitled princeling, posh British voice. Once upon a legend, in the mythical realm of Generica, in the Duchy of Deverage, towards the east of the Kingdom of Leith, in the northeast of the land of Varlian, there lived a princeling. He, Hadalrith Deverage Jr. the 7th, was that princeling. No, he was that legend. Yes, that was how he'd get them to write his story, thought the princeling, gazing around at the assembled group with the disdain only an insignificantly minor royal could muster. He'd brought his best carousing buddy and most loyal courtier with him for a bro's day out exploring these caves, then they'd go for a bro's night out in town. A town far enough from home that he could have some fun before he had to marry the princess. They'd hired a guide, a grizzled veteran from the Grand King's army called Baker, who had brought along a wall-sized guardian and a wiry rogue to keep them safe. A portly priest was waving his hands and mumbling words over the group. A wealthy-looking merchant was chatting with a long-bearded wizard, and there were some peasants or adventurers, and even a scruffy cat in the group. He wouldn't let them spoil his day. He raised his tankard at his best bro, a challenge. They locked eyes and drank, slamming the empty tankards on their heads, grunting and bumping chests. His courtier hurried to refill them. Why did he keep that fool around anyway? Baker was calling them to muster. Just time for one more, and then downwards to glory. Baker, ex-Special Forces, Texas Joel. Sitrep 0830 hours. After late muster at 0615, we're halfway in, the easy half. No incidents to report. Most of company in good shape. Fat priest and old wizard starting to slow us down. Princeling and his boys half drunk. Asked Guardian to keep an eye on them. He'll calm them if they get rowdy. Get them in, get them a story to tell, and get them out. That's the mission. Both merchants calm and focused. I like that. They're here for business, like me. It's a living, guiding civilians through these abandoned dungeons. Don't know what happened here. Don't care. As long as it stays dormant. Keep our hands to ourselves and we'll be fine. Healer's a strange one. So's her cat. Reaching crystals soon. Grey is the finest rogue I know, so I'll let them guide us through tricky part ahead. After all, live clients pay best. Grey, quiet rogue, soft, melodious voice. Baker handed the lead to me for this part. My time to shine. It's a short distance, but it may be tricky for some of these darlings, and there could be traps or worse. Oh, I see you, sneaky traps. I can smell you out. I can sense you. I will guide my little charges safely past. We make a good team, Baker, Bram, and me. I spin widdershins thrice and leave a small offering for good fortune. That creepy priest glares at me. There's something not right about him. Oops, a steep drop, so down I climb, knocking in batons and tying rope as I go. Of course, I sprinkle a pinch of pink salt from the mountains of Ntharg on each for strength and luck. As Bram helps the others down, I scout ahead. Looks like this stretch was well trapped, as there are skeletons impaled on spears and loose floor stones that no doubt conceal a pit. A tingle tells me some of the traps are still active. I focus in unfocus, as I call it, sensing where the pressure points are, marking them for the group to avoid. In the torchlight, the wizard translates cryptic runic inscriptions on the wall. Find here the truth of you. I make a warding sign and leave another offering. No harm in being careful. Curses can be hard to shift. Time to move on. Careful there, my lovelies. With a flourish, I lead them into the vast crystal cave. The healer, Eloise, gently touches my arm and thanks me as she moves past. Eloise, healer empath, breathy Enya voice. Oh, it's alive, I whisper to Torty. I can feel it. This is what I have been sensing, even past the angry, greedy auras of the group. Although the countless huge crystals growing in this vast cavern are dark, I feel their aura. Oh, how could I not? It yearns so. Reverently, I place my hands on a crystal. A glow spreads out from them, faint at first, then ever brighter, a pale azure colour. The glow spreads from crystal to crystal, each a different, subtle hue as the crystals wake up. Soft violets and deep red carmelines combine with a cornucopia of gleaming mineral shades, patterns and textures to create an enchanting rainbow, and the auras are just as varied. The crystals resonate so deeply with me, and I feel something wake in myself. I listen deeper than I ever have before. I can feel the universe flowing through them, and I ask what it is they have to share. A vision assails me of blood and death, sharp swords and bright magic, screams and mayhem. Shadows shamble and tear, theft and betrayal is rife. The crystals grow spikes that pierce my hands, and I scream. Such pain, such suffering, how long have they felt like this? What just happened?
Norbit, Weasley Merchant, nasal voice.
Norbit, the ambitious and profitable merchant, drifts away from the group into half-darkness. With his back to them to hide what he's doing, he breaks off a piece of glowing crystal, sliding it into a pouch. He steps back as jagged spikes grow from the break, stretching out like thin tendrils waving in the air, seeking. The weird cat lady screams, drawing everyone's attention. Fortuitous. He uses the distraction to snap off a few more samples. The crystals here will be worth millions. He's struck gold this time, more than gold. He and his consortium are going to mine this place into the ground, and finally he's going to be as rich as he's ever dreamed. Turning back to the others, he sees them crowding around the weird lady. The Guardian is bandaging her hands, the others looking out into the darkness. Lord Jordan, the power broker, glares daggers at him. How did he see me take it? He's almost relieved when it goes dark.
Help off, cowardly sycophant, trembling voice.
Oh dear, says Hilpoth, the princeling's courtier, as all light is extinguished, leaving the cavern in a darkness so deep that light itself might never have existed. The crystals don't glow, the light orbs are gone, the torches are all out. He feels something warm spreading down his leg. To me, cries the princeling, and Hilpoth realizes with a certainty he's never felt before in his life that he is going to die here. As the room erupts into chaos, he feels a sense of relief. At least he'll finally be free of that dreadful bully. Lord Jordan, power broker, confident business voice. Lord Jordan glared at Norbit, the greasy little merchant. He knew instantly what had happened. That idiot was always looking to turn a quick profit. He didn't see what was really here. Power. The power to buy kings, to win wars, to make a mark on history. As all light left the cavern, he felt dread. No, he'd survived worse, and he was getting out of here even if all the others had to die for it. That was how business worked. No second prizes. As torches flared and the wizard cast light spells, a sickly glow shone from the now jagged and plant-like crystals, revealing dark shapes shambling towards them from all directions. Your weight in gold to forget the others and get me out of here, he commanded the Guardian.
Bram, tough Guardian, deep gravelly voice.
Bram's eyes went wide, then narrow. I will get you safe out of here, Lord, not because you bribed me, because it's what I do. Baker was commanding the group to make a circle, warriors on the outside, the vulnerable within. They threw torches out to light what was coming at them. He felt calm as people were screaming, clamouring, praying around him. He felt most alive at times like this, when his strength and skill was all that let him dance that razor's edge. Clashing his broadsword on his shield, he placed himself between his charges and the enemy. He'd keep these people safe, or die trying.
Father Petros, creepy priest, smarmy voice.
Father Petros elbowed his way past the others, snatched up one of the torches, and sprinted out of the cavern back the way they'd come. Forget them. He wasn't staying down here to be eaten by some undead fiends, or worse. The news of what they'd found would be enough to get him into the bishop's good graces before the reports of his transgressions reached him. By the Almighty Allfather, he would escape from here. Slamming it, grasping hands with his mace, he ducked and dodged past, the battle cries, explosions, and screams from the cavern behind growing ever fainter. He reached the choke point and dove down, wriggling through. No! His belly was stuck and his robes were caught. Damn this thing! He called on the Almighty Allfather to save him, raised his all-holy symbol to ward off the evils here, to turn the undead away. But the Allfather's might didn't reach down this far into the earth. No, it was his faith that didn't reach high enough. Damn, damn, and bloody damn, he cursed, as sharp undead teeth tore into him from behind, and he screamed and screamed as dark shadow oozed out of the rocks and into his body. Morgleflint, rational wizard, lecturing professor's voice. Logically, this should not be happening, thought the wizard Morgleflint as he zished another fireball at the shambling monstrosities attacking their party. This expedition had been intended for research purposes, not for a dangerous adventure. He watched as a horde of twisted undead gibberlins, humans and drogs swarmed the rat-faced merchant, shredding him into 1,000 pieces. Bram the Guardian struck at them with mighty blows, fighting at the right hand of Baker, their grim guide. The rogue's blades flashed like quicksilver, slicing again and again. They might just make it out of here. Tendrils grew up out of the rocky ground, stabbing into Baker's body, animating him to strike at the rogue. With a betrayed look in their eyes, the rogue struck back and both fell. Morgleflint cast a ring of fire around them, and the monstrosities burned, his magical flames scorching the shadow beasts, causing great oozing chunks to fall smouldering to the ground. It hardly slowed them down, and one enfolded the princeling in its ombrous maw, consuming him in its razor-sharp darkness. The Guardian charged, striking with sword and shield, giving the others precious time to escape. They ran for the exit as tendrils of crystal emerged from it, ripping apart the courtier and the other merchant. The Guardian was beset from all sides and fought like a dervish until the corpses of Baker, the rogue, and the merchants rose to drag him down. Morgleflint stumbled back as the creatures turned as one towards him.
Burger, CrossFit Bro, Frat Boy Voice.
Bro, just him and the wizard left standing. How had that happened? He'd seen Prince H-Dog devoured by a shadow thing with more teeth than he'd had cold beers. His best bro gone. Bro! He steadied the falling wizard and put him back on his feet. "I've got you, bro," he said, holding out a fist to bump. To his surprise, the wizard returned the fist bump, unleashing a stream of sparkling fire with the other hand. Back to back, the unlikely bros fought on.
The living crystals, weird polyphonic voice.
So long we have slept since the last dragon left, and now we are wakened by she. One broke off my child, unleashed the ancient pain. We lash out, bringing death to life, and to life we bring death. The last two stand, the last two fall, and it is quiet again. It hurts. It is pain. Pretty delightful cat, purring voice. For a long time it was quiet. Torty scented death all around her. Her whiskers felt the tension still in the air. Her human was near, and she sought her. Strange colours assailed her sharp eyes, and ghosts invisible to mortals drifted through the darkness. She darted from shadow to shadow, sliding out to where her human knelt, both hands on a pulsing crystal. "Torty, you must leave. It feels such pain, and I must stay to heal it if I can." Torty bumped her head against her human's leg. "No, Torty, you must save yourself. There is no life for you down here. Please go, my love. I insist." Torty understands. She must leave to survive. Snuggling into her human's lap, she purrs, content. Well, that was an experiment to write a story in vignettes from so many different perspectives. How do you think it turned out? If it went well, I might try it again. Oh, and here's one last poignant and serious poem I just wrote. Let's have Norbit read it.
If wishes are horses, the tooth fairy lies. I have only one wish, but no pony.
Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you for listening. I hope to see you again next time for episode 14. Cheerio. Thanks for listening. The Strange Rainbows podcast is copyright Mike Storm 2024, all rights reserved. It is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual names, characters, businesses, places, events, or persons, living, dead, or imaginary, is entirely coincidental.